midst of COVID because we couldn't trust anything that Donald Trump was saying about the pandemic.
Right.
So everyone tuned in to really what almost was like the shadow president, the guy that was going to give us facts and not tell us to inject ourselves with bleach.
Right.
I think that we need to do something similar to that because all they're going to do, him and his new press secretary, is spew lies upon lies upon lies. We need to daily brief the American people. That's number one. Number two, a lot of people are talking about, you know what, we just are looking forward to the midterms. We only need 3 more seats. I'm sure everybody's tired of getting emails, text messages, phone calls, trying to raise money. But the reality is that we have an opportunity right now.
Okay, the last thing you want to do is get your updates and facts from MSNBC or CNN. All they do is stretch the truth and mold everything into their own agenda. You can't trust these networks. They are not reliable. They're biased and they're laser focused on trying to paint this horrible picture of Trump and anyone he's associated with, which now you can see is Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg. Notice how quick they've turned on all of those guys. They cannot report the news because they're so clouded with their judgment and hatred of Donald Trump. Do not go to these networks for real life updates and facts about what's going on, because you're only going to get a small portion of what's going on, and even that small portion isn't going to be reliable. And it's pretty amazing that they're complaining so much about cleaning up the government and DOGE, when at one point Democrats wanted to do the exact same thing that Elon is doing. I would say almost to a more extreme level, closing hundreds of offices and cutting pay as much as possible. But all of a sudden now, because Trump and Elon are taking over the baton and picking up on where they failed, it's this huge issue. Don't rely on these networks. Whatever she's talking about with having some kind of hope or there's an opportunity now, there's not an opportunity now for them. The majority of the country wants nothing to do with that Democratic Party or these networks that can't seem to get it through their head that nobody cares about their opinions. Like, it's going to be a very long time before they're back in the office. Whatever she's hoping for is not going to happen. Not in 2 years, not in 4 years. Do not rely on these networks.
And for far too long, those of us who've worked to uncover waste, fraud, and abuse have had to deal with what amounts to an unconstitutional fourth branch of permanent bureaucracy that has too often worked to ignore, obfuscate, delay, and frustrate our efforts to bring transparency and oversight. Over the last few weeks, the DOGE effort has begun to uncover not only how massive the waste, fraud, and abuse is, but also the extent at which DC politicians and too many obstinate bureaucrats have coordinated to create what is essentially the largest money laundering scheme in history. And while Americans have been working to make ends meet, they have been using taxpayer dollars to fund unnecessary, egregious, and even evil things here at home and around the world. Thankfully, in DOGE, we have a president bringing the leadership needed and a focused effort, along with the talent, technology, tools, and transparency to this waste, fraud, and abuse. And to those who would stand opposed to this effort, I would just point out, while it's understandable to find waste, fraud, and abuse that has grown and metastasized in this government even over decades, certainly accelerated over the last few years, to continue to protect it is corruption.
For some reason, you're not going to find these kind of updates at networks like CNN and MSNBC. For some reason, they just forget about these hearings, or maybe they avoid them altogether and leave them out of their program for some reason. Not going to hear it on those networks. And yet they're telling you to rely on them for facts and updates. Don't rely on these networks. If you listen to what he's saying DOGE is uncovering a large amount of fraud and wasted spending. So while you're at home struggling week after week, giving the government half of your paycheck week after week, they're over there living very comfortably and wasting money on unnecessary, pointless programs that does not benefit anyone but them and their agenda. If you're a Democrat or if you're someone on the fence, do yourself a favor and don't rely on these networks. Make your own decisions. Do your own homework. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, informative, or if you just enjoyed watching it, please make sure to hit the like and the subscribe button. It really helps the channel. Make sure to share your thoughts and opinions in the comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say, whether we disagree or agree. I want to hear what you guys have to say. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.